Hello from the National Training Center at Fort Irwin, California. I am Captain John Bolen, a Maneuver Battalion Operations Trainer.
And I'm Captain Olivia Schretzman, a Combat Engineer Company Armored and Sapper Company Observer Coach Trainer.
And we are here today, together, as a team, to discuss trends in combined arms breaching here at NTC and help you build a foundation as future leaders in large-scale combat operations.
Absolutely, John. Our goal for this two-part series is really to help you, as a leader, from any warfighting function, improve your knowledge and figure out how to synchronize your efforts in combined arms breaching. We want to share how you, as a combat leader, a member of staff from all branches, how you can help your team successfully get your unit not just to the point of breach, but through the breach and then to seize the far side objective. At the end of the day, we want to help you build your legitimacy, your presence, your competence, and ultimately your trust as leaders in large-scale combat operations. Please use this video not just as a reference in training, but as preparation for a CTC, and if you ever find yourself in future large-scale combat operations breaching complex obstacles.
As Captain Schretzman stated, our TAC Talk will consist of 2 episodes. In Part 1, we will conduct a teach of the combined arms breaching doctrine, drawn largely from ADP 3-90, Offense and Defense, and unclassified sections of ATP 3-90.4, Combined Arms Mobility. In Part 2, we are going to discuss the common trends in combined arms breaching, both here at NTC and in the current operational environment, or OE, and provide pragmatic and realistic ways to improve on these trends. A common theme throughout both episodes is that we will explore both the science and art of breaching, including the role of leadership, trust, and feedback in effective breaching operations.
Now let's get started and build your knowledge on the combined arms breach. The list of references for this TAC Talk are a great way to get you started in planning and executing a combined arms breach. We reference FM 3-0 a lot during this video, and we will pull from FM 3-34 Engineer Operations to help you identify important roles and responsibilities of the staff during MDMP. Before we get into the details of how you can be successful in planning and executing a combined arms breach, we need to understand the doctrinal definition of what it means to be combined arms and what is a breach. According to FM 3-0, combined arms is the synchronized and simultaneous application of arms to achieve an effect greater than if each element was used separately or sequentially. Combined arms integrates leadership, information, and each of the warfighting functions and joint capabilities through mission command. Complementary capabilities protect the weaknesses of one system or organization with the capabilities of a different one. So we know what combined arms is. What is a combined arms breach? Well, in larger doctrinal framework, under multi-domain operations, we have the offense and the defense. A breach falls under one of the 6 mobility tasks. Mobility tasks are combined arms activities that mitigates the effect of obstacles to enable freedom of movement and maneuver. A breach is a tactical mission task under the control of a maneuver commander, in which the unit employs all available means to break through or establish a passage through an enemy defense, obstacle, minefield, or fortification and project combat power. Breaching, in support of maneuver, is focused on close combat and is primarily conducted using combat engineer assets like a MICLIC or a joint assault bridge. It is one of the most difficult tasks a maneuver force is required to execute. Figure 3-1 breach area gives you a good visual and doctrinal template and what it actually looks like if you haven't seen one before. The breach area is a defined area where a breach occurs. It is established and plotted by the higher headquarters of the unit conducting the breach. The breach area includes the point of breach, reduction area, far side objective, and point of penetration. The point of breach is a location at an obstacle where the creation of a lane is being attempted. The breach force normally determines the actual point of breach during the breach. A reduction area is a number of adjacent points of breach that are under the control of the breaching commander. The commander conducting the attack determines the size and location of the reduction area that supports the seizure of the point of penetration. The far side objective is a defined location oriented on the terrain or on an enemy force that an assaulting force seizes to eliminate enemy during direct fires to prevent the enemy from interfering with the reduction of obstacles and allows follow-on forces to move securely through created lanes. A point of penetration is the location identified on the ground where the commanders concentrates their efforts to seize a foothold on the far side objective.
So breaching really is about a lot more than just SOSRA, isn't it?
Definitely, John. A breach is very complex. In fact, SOSRA is just one of the breaching tenets. Successful breaching missions are characterized by applying breaching tenets into the MDMP planning process. The tenets include intelligence, the breaching fundamentals, or SOSRA, which include suppress, obscure, secure, reduce, and assault, the breaching organization, mass, and synchronization. These 5 tenets are integrated into MDMP by the reverse breach planning process. The size and composition of the support, breach, and assault forces are determined during the course of action development using that reverse breach planning process. Reverse planning consists of 6 steps. Reverse breach planning begins with the actions on the objective and moves backward to the line of departure, since seizing an objective is typically the decisive point at the tactical level and is directly tied to mission accomplishment. Maneuver planners use reverse breach planning and force ratios to determine the size and composition of the maneuver forces that will perform the tasks which support the decisive and shaping operations for each course of action. Actions on the objective drive the size and composition of the force that conducts the final assault of the objective as part of an attack, and this dictates lane requirements, or the number and location of required lanes. Lane requirements and the composition of obstacles, which is step 4, drive the number and types of reduction assets needed by the breach force, which is step 5. The engineer staff officer and other planners use reverse breach planning to determine the best way to allocate mobility assets within the arrayed forces to facilitate the scheme of movement and maneuver for each course of action. The engineer staff officer focuses on the allocation of reduction assets, which is step 6. The situational template, which depicts enemy direct and indirect fire coverage, or templated enemy obstacles, determines the size and composition of the support force.
I think the key takeaway from all this is that the reverse breach planning process cannot be slapped onto a maneuver plan following the op order. It must be integrated into the military decision-making process, specifically mission analysis and course of action development. The 2 processes combine to create a complete plan, integrating all warfighting functions, a truly combined arms breach in both planning and execution.
Definitely, and that's spot on. It identifies really the key to having a synchronized and effective combined arms breach operation. To all our combat leaders and staff officers, really ask yourself, do I know what a breaching tenet is? Do I know how the reverse breach planning process seamlessly overlays with our military decision-making process? And where am I during that MDMP process? Be present, work hard, listen to other warfighting functions, and really learn from your staff colleagues. And by utilizing this video, we hope you understand a little bit more about the combined arms breach and how to effectively think through its execution.
Stay tuned for part 2 of our TAC Talk, where we will discuss the current operational environment, trends in combined arms breaching here at the National Training Center, and offer a way to improve these combined arms breaching trends in both training and potential large-scale combat.
Thank you for watching this episode of our TAC Talks, and train the force.